What do you think Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay? Well, we know he's good. What about the situation in? You can say it if you want. You don't have to. Do you taking a stand one way or the other? Did he do the right thing or the wrong thing, or did the boxing association do the right or wrong thing?
I'll tell you, that's a very, very touchy subject at this time. I know Cassius Clay. I know him as a fighter. I don't know him as a man. I never really became too friendly with Clay. He is a man that has always been surrounded by too many people. And I never did get a chance to talk to him socially. But as a fighter, I thought he had the potentials. In fact, I went on record as saying that I saw a young amateur that looked like he really could be great way back early in Cassius Clay's life when he was just an Olympic fighter. Because of it, Clay was friendly to me. He said that I knew what I was talking about and that one day he would be the champ. And he did go right along and did improve all the time. And a lot of people don't realize it, but he was a very, very dedicated fighter. He was very conscious of the training. He was very, very much a well-conditioned athlete. He never cheated on boxing. He paid the price, the road work and the early to bed and early to rise and the workouts and the sparring and the calisthenics, all of the hard work that goes into making a fighter. Clay has done all of that. He enjoyed it. He liked boxing. I know because I talked to him about boxing on many occasions. I don't know what happened to him on the other side of the fence. I think that perhaps he took the wrong road, and I'm sorry in a way. I feel quite sorry for Cassius because I think that he would have been a very popular. I think he would have been a very well-revered man if he had only done all of his fighting in the ring.
I think Rocky was probably undoubtedly, since your time, one of the fine fighters, a real pleasure to watch, and that's because he did train right.
He was very smooth, you know. We in boxing call him very, very much relaxed in the ring. Very, very good. His reflexes were unbelievable. His speed was something else for a heavyweight. He had all of the qualifications that it takes to make a great fighter. There's no question about it. He had just ability galore, more than he needed. He was a man that picked up fast. He had the courage in the ring. I believe he did. There are some people who doubt this because of the time where he, in one of the fights, wanted to quit. That is a story, and I'm not too sure of it. But I believe that he had the makings of a great fighter. And I'm sorry, like a lot of people in boxing are, that he did take the wrong road.
Could he take a punch?
We don't know. He never had to. He was just that fast and that quick. His reflexes were that good where he wasn't hit hard on the chin. I would have liked to seen him hit on the chin to see just how well he took a punch, but it never happened, and I saw all of his fights. I would have to say I don't know.
I was certainly looking forward to the day when I was going to see Cassius Clay fight Joe Frazier when Frazier began to mature a little bit.
That would be a great fight right now, really. This would be the fight to watch because Frazier, who has now been polished and is now timber for a championship timber. And of course Clay, who is or as he was, the finished fighter. I think Clay perhaps had the style to beat Frazier, I'd say a year ago. Now a year has passed. If another year passes and then this fight could take place, I think it would be a great fight because by that time Frazier would have a good chance.
Rock, you know, he's popped off on many occasions, as people would say, and he had a lot to say about other fighters. He was the toughest man in the world, he thought, that he could whip anybody. But when he was asked if he could whip The Rock, he never seemed to have that same comment. He had a lot of respect for you, I guess.
You know, I'm awful glad. I'm very happy that you brought that up because very few people realize this. I did, as I followed his every move and every story. He was asked on a number of occasions about a fight with me and how he thought it would come out. And honestly, he has been a good guy as far as I'm concerned, because he didn't pop off. He didn't get me aggravated. He didn't do anything to hurt my reputation or my feelings. And I somehow appreciate this, because when you're out of it for a long time, you can really do nothing about it. I'm not the type of a man that likes to brag or likes to challenge anybody. I would have liked to challenge anybody in my time, but when you're out of the ring for 12 and 13 years, it's quite foolish to say, well, come on, let's go. And so I respect his opinions, and that he never once put me down. And I think really I'm the only one in heavyweight history that he didn't put down.
Did people ever approach you to go back into training, Rock, to fight this boy?
They did. They did in the past. You know, my first and second year out of boxing, I just wasn't around. We were traveling all over the country, my family and I. But when I settled in Fort Lauderdale about 9 years ago, I had only been out of boxing about 4 years at that time, and there were many, many people coming from all parts of the country with propositions for me to make a comeback. They were coming as far away as London. I had some South Americans come up here. I had an Australian come in here, and Canadians flew in from out in Vancouver, BC, all with the thought of a one big promotion. And they were talking, believe it or not in $1 million categories, but in $2 million categories, and I was just flabbergasted, because in my lifetime in boxing, it took me 8 years to gross a little better than $3 million. But here in one fight, they wanted to put me in, and it could have grossed $2 million, as they said. And it was quite a temptation, even though I had been out 4 and 5 years, which in my opinion is just too long a period of time to stay away from boxing. I just don't believe that anybody can stay out of boxing more than 3 years and come back and be 90% of themselves.
Well, I figure after that long, it wasn't a far-fetched idea. The reason I had mentioned it, and I know many people, I'm sure many people had approached you on it, but I think your conditioning and so forth, even though you get back in good condition, you just can't get the reflexes back.
It's the timing more than the reflexes, believe. Well, the reflexes, of course, are the main reason, but timing is such an important thing in boxing. When I was fighting, I could get myself right to the peak and just cut off training 2 days, and I'd be in peak condition. And honestly, I could actually hit a fly on any part of a person's body, just a little tiny fly. I mean, I really had accuracy. I could judge the rhythm of a fighter. I also had good rhythm when I was boxing. And you lose this as you grow older, and as you stay away from fighting, you lose this little bit of accuracy and timing, which is so important to a heavyweight.